Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're here to do a video on my VR headsets that I have because I'm in a lucky position where I get to try a lot of these headsets and I own a lot of headsets. I'm now up to 7 VR headsets that I have currently in my household, and obviously I've tried a lot beforehand that I don't have anymore, like the Vive Pro, the Vive Pro 2, the Valve Index, and all that stuff that I've tried back in the day. And now we're up to 7 headsets that I currently have, and I wanted to showcase because a lot of people always ask me when I make the video reviews on all these headsets, oh, what do you use it for since you have, this headset, and what do you use this headset for if you already have this headset? And I get a lot of questions like that, so I wanted to go through and talk about all the headsets that I have. We have PSVR2, we have the Quest 3S, we have the regular Quest 3, we have the Play for Dream, we have the new Pimax Crystal Light, we have the Bigscreen Beyond 2. We have the Apple Vision Pro. So we have a lot of different headsets that I want to talk about in today's video to kind of talk about a little bit of what I think about them and a little bit of how I actually use them compared to the other headsets and what they're best at. And don't forget, guys, if you guys want to support me and the channel, links to a lot of these headsets will be down below, and to anything I talk about, including the things that you may need to get wireless VR, all that stuff will be down below. So if you guys want to support me, go ahead and use those affiliate links down below. If you guys want to buy any of these headsets, it goes a long way to continue to bring you guys reviews and content on this channel. Other than that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
All right, guys, so the first one I want to talk about is the most obvious one, and that is the Quest 3. So I want to start off with the Quest 3 because it's the one I kind of use the most because of the nature of what the Quest 3 offers and what I like out of a VR headset. So first of all, the ease of use. Obviously, the Quest 3 just sits on here. It's always ready to go, and I could just put it on my head and I'm in VR in 3 seconds. The only other headset that I can say is that fast to get into in the use cases that I use it for would be the Apple Vision Pro, which we'll get into later. But the Quest 3 is really, really easy to get into and just start playing or start doing whatever you want. It's also my most comfortable headset that I own, and that is because the Bobo VR system that I have on here, as you guys can see, I have the battery in the back, so it kind of counterweights everything. I have the mods here in the front. That I added all these comfort mods. So with the Bobo VR head strap and the fan in the front and everything, it is my most comfortable headset. And I do have lenses for this headset. Like you guys know, I love my VR lenses. It's a must in my opinion. If you wear glasses, it's a lot better than wearing contacts and glasses. Regardless if they fit glasses, it's not something that I would recommend anybody do. I think it's a lot better to, use these lens inserts to really get the full clarity of the lenses. But the ease of use and the comfort is, obviously what I like about this thing. But the reason that I use the Quest 3 so often is, of course, it has the exclusive games that you can't play anywhere else. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out in a couple of months here, which I'm really excited to dive into and see what that game is like. We just had Batman last year, which was a fantastic game. Asgard's Wrath 2, which was an awesome game. Assassin's Creed. So many good VR games to look forward to. And not only that, but then you have mixed reality games as well. That's where you obviously, have the game overlaid on top of your actual physical environment. And there's been some great games that have come out for the Quest 3 on here that, we haven't seen anywhere else, that you can't play anywhere else, because Quest 3 kind of is the only one really doing really good mixed reality games. We get a lot of good mixed reality apps and games that come on here that you can't play anywhere else. We have multiplayer games, single player games, things in space and creative games that you can make things. And there's just a good variety of stuff. I've done a lot of videos on mixed reality because of that. And, that is something that I really, really like that none of these other headsets do a really good job at when it comes to gaming. So I always gear towards, mixed reality stuff on the Quest 3. I love playing all the exclusive games that I talked about before that are coming. And also the social nature of it. I know a lot of people aren't as big on this as I am, but I love social VR. It's exactly why I love VR so much. It's because I can play with anybody around the world, talk to anybody around the world, and just have a great time. And Horizon Worlds, for me, I've done videos on it in the past, is actually really good in my opinion. There's a lot of good games in there, even though a lot of people don't seem to think so, but I've done videos on this proving otherwise. There's a really good social areas for adults only. You don't have to be nagged with kids everywhere if you don't want to. Horizon Worlds is a really fun time for me, in my opinion, and I have a lot of fun playing it. And because of Horizon Worlds, I go in here a lot. You know, my longest session that I've ever had in VR is because of Horizon Worlds. I was in there for like 10 hours straight, or maybe even longer. I think it was 12 hours straight in VR, just talking to people and stuff like that. That's not something any other VR app has ever let me do. And it's just a lot of fun. I love social VR, and I love exploring with people, talking to people and stuff like that. And I still pop in there in Horizon Worlds. I've gotten a lot busier lately, but I still pop in there and you know, check up on things and see what's coming soon. And even the new immersive home that's coming to VR, to your new home platform that I just did video on as well on the Quest, is really, really exciting, because Immersive World is finally going to give us augments. So you already can pin 3 different apps around your world. You have your actual physical home. You can finally walk around for the first time. And these augments that are going to be coming around, digital objects you're going to be able to overlay in here, is going to finally give us what we've been wanting to customize our home. And that's stuff that no other headset is doing. A lot of people don't care about this stuff, but it's stuff I care about, and I know a lot of other people do. Having a home in VR, when I pop in and I see all my different windows and I see all my different apps, and inviting friends over and seeing our different ones that, you know, we've created and stuff like that, is super fun in VR, and it's what makes VR interesting and cool in my opinion. So yeah, to summarize those thoughts here, the Quest is the most comfortable headset that I own. And it's my most used headset because of social VR, because of mixed reality, and because of those exclusives. However, it is the one of the lowest resolution headsets I have, so I don't use it for wirelessly streaming PCVR because there's better headsets for that. I don't use it for sim racing or sim flying or anything like that, because I think there's just better headsets out there. Even though these lenses are really, really good with a really good sweet spot and edge-to-edge clarity, I found other headsets still do a better overall job to play all of those other games, and to play the games that I can play on PC or stuff like that, that I'd rather play on those instead of playing on the Quest. So really what I do on the Quest is play the exclusives, play the social stuff, and play the games that you can't play anywhere else, and do a mixture of that. But anything I can play anywhere else that is on the Quest platform, but I can play anywhere else and I'm not playing with friends or anything like that, I'll do elsewhere. And moving right along to the Quest 3S. The Quest 3S is really, really short. I mean, I don't really use it at all. I have it as a secondary device when I have friends come over. So my use case for the Quest 3S that I have is it sits in the corner, and when the friend comes over and we're like, oh, we want to play VR, I give them the Quest 3S and I put on the Quest 3, and we can go in there together and play mixed reality games in local multiplayer, or regular games in local multiplayer, go into social apps, and I kind of use it to show other friends, because I have a secondary account on there, so we can play VR games together and play VR stuff together on the Quest platform. And I've done that with a variety of friends and stuff like that, and family members, and we have a great time doing it. I stay in this room and play, and they go in the living room and play, and we have a great time doing that. So that's really my only use case for the 3S at this point. So the next headset I want to talk about is the Play for Dream headset. Now this is a Android-based headset, except, you know, it's fully Android, so you can do whatever you want, install things from the App Store and stuff like that. Like the Quest is Android based, but it's proprietary on the platform that they use. This is Android overlaid with some of their apps and stuff like that, so you can download whatever you want. It does not have Google Play services, however, so you can't download the Google Play Store, but you can download other Play Stores and use apps on here that you could, you know, enjoy. Now, one of the things that makes this headset stand out is, of course, the highest resolution panels that I have in my VR, you know, headset collection. It is 4K panels, even a little bit higher than the Apple Vision Pro, and the clarity on this is really, really good. There's slight glare and stuff like that on this headset, but nothing that distracts me for the most overall use case of it. It looks really, really good. The edge-to-edge clarity is good. I do have optical lenses on these as well for my glasses, and it works extremely well. I do like the fact that it has a built-in store with some of their games. Of course, it's not fully fledged out because, you know, they're kind of new at this and there's not like a ton of games on there. But because of the fact that this is using basically the same Snapdragon chip that the Quest 3 is, just a little bit better. Obviously, those games are not going to be running anywhere near at the native resolution of 4K that this thing has, but it does get the benefits of the OLED panels that this thing has, the good edge-to-edge clarity that this has. So you are going to get the games to look really, really good. Those deeper blacks, those really good colors and popping colors that the Quest 3 doesn't have. The Quest 3 may have a bigger FOV than this one has, and it may have, you know, really good lenses when it comes to, you know, the sweet spot and everything. Having an OLED is something that I'll always choose over that, as long as the edge-to-edge is good and the edge-to-edge clarity is good on here, and I'll get those deeper blacks and better colors, and it looks really, really good in my opinion with this headset. Really also like the sleek design of this headset. Kind of reminds me of the Apple Vision Pro, obviously. But that is not the reason that I use this headset. What I use this headset for is two things. One, exploring Android. Sometimes I download apps from the app store that I have on here and download different media streaming apps and stuff like that. But that's not really the main use case. But I do dabble into that because of how high the resolution is and just playing with that stuff. But my main use case for this is wireless PCVR. I have no other headset in my current, disposable headset collection that has this high of a resolution. So when I play PCVR and do it wirelessly, it is amazing to play wireless PCVR in this high resolution. A virtual desktop even has a monster tier, which no other headset can use, that lets you, if you have a 5090, really push this headset and the resolution and the panels of this. And this is the best wireless PCVR experience that I've had on any headset easily. And I've tried every single one, even though I don't use it on the Quest. I've tried it on there. But this is the best way to play it, hands down. I mean, besides the fact that it has that monster resolution in virtual desktop, you do need to have really good performance if you want to push some of these things, though. Like my router that I have here behind me, I have the Asus router, which I'll have linked down below, that I did a video review on, that has Wi-Fi 7 and all those standards. This headset does support Wi-Fi 7, one of the only ones that do. So you get that full bandwidth that you can use. Having it in the same room like I have really pushes virtual desktop and to its limits. And it looks fantastic. The only reason that this is not my go-to wireless PCVR solution for everything is because it's wireless, so it's not always going to be as good as some of those other high-end headsets that are wired plugged in. But it's the tracking. This is not used like the base stations like I have behind me or anything like that, or the index controllers, which I still think are my favorite controllers of all time. It uses these controllers here, and unfortunately, it does lose tracking more than it needs to. So when it comes to games like Beat Saber, even though it looks really good on this headset with these OLED panels, it's not going to be what I use to play those games because unfortunately the tracking gets lost every once in a while. For example, when I play a Beat Saber song, it may lose tracking once or twice while playing a song, which makes me lose my score and stuff like that, because it's not losing tracking when I'm going like this, but it is losing tracking where, let's say that I put my hand down on the side because I'm swiping this one to hit some of the blocks that are coming up because it's only using my right hand. It will lose tracking on the left hand, and it will take a couple of seconds to come back when you put your hand up back into view. So it's not doing as good of a job as things like the Quest 3 or some of the other headsets that I have here that, kind of guess where your hand is and use AI to kind of generate where your hand is. The Quest 3 does a far better job. Other headsets do a far better job in that. So this is not a headset that I use for fast motion games because it may lose tracking in certain situations. Like even the bowling game that I played, when I put my hand behind my back to throw the ball really quickly, sometimes it would lose tracking. So they have some improvements that they need to make with tracking, but the headset and the resolution and all of that stuff works extremely well. And the tracking works good most of the time, but it's those use cases like pulling your hand behind your back for bowling and putting your hands on your side when you're relaxing it that are going to give you some issues with the tracking getting lost sometimes. But the good thing is that for PCVR, like controller supported games, like when you're using an Xbox controller or when you're using like flight games and stuff like that, or sim racing games, this is a really good headset to do all of that with because the resolution and the panels are really, really good. And that's kind of what I use it for. Sometimes I play things like UEVR with games like that on this headset. And I do still use these controllers for PCVR and wireless setup. I just use it on more slower paced games that maybe don't rely on fast tracking like Beat Saber, or those outskirt games like bowling where I know my hand's going to be behind my back. So I got a lot of use case out of this in wireless PCVR. It's the best wireless PCVR I've ever used. And having no wires and having the graphics look this good is definitely nothing to, glance over. And I can't wait to see their improvements for the tracking on the controllers. All right, guys, so the next one we're going to talk about here is the Bigscreen Beyond 2. So this is the smallest headset that I own. Obviously, it's probably the smallest VR headset out there. And I just got this recently, did a full review on this as well. And what I really like about this headset is it also uses OLED panels, which is great. So it has those inky blacks and great colors and stuff like that. The glare severely reduced from the first version, so the glare now is just really sometimes on the outer edges, not directly in the center like it used to be. So the glare severely reduced where most of the time it does not bother me. It does use SteamVR tracking, so you're using the base stations and the index controllers that you need to use. That is the only option that you have for this. And it's also fits to your face because of the cushion that you have on here that you can use that magnetically attaches. It's form-fitting to your face because it was made for my face. So that means it's it's almost the most comfortable headset I own. The Quest 3 is still more comfortable. I've spent hours on that, but this is second place when it comes to being comfortable comfortable with how easy it fits on your head, how comfortable it fits like on here. It kind of just lays on your head and you almost forget about it after wearing it for a little while. The clarity and stuff like that is really good. I think the edge-to-edge clarity is really, really good on this headset. The sweet spot is obviously relatively small with the lenses being this small, compared to some other headsets on here like the Quest 3. It is still really good with the edge-to-edge clarity. The glare is not bad at all. It's vastly improved to the way it was before. The FOV is bigger than the Bigscreen Beyond 1. They've improved it now to be a wider horizontally, about 103 to 105 degrees, which is much better than it used to be. And the vertical is also improved a little bit. Not exactly as big as the Quest 3, but still much better improved now. And I don't look at it and go, oh my God, the FOV is so small. I now use it without thinking about the FOV and have a blast playing it. Now, my use case for the Bigscreen Beyond 2 is because I can stay in it a very long time because of how small it is. And for things like the Play for a Dream that we just talked about with the tracking, this obviously has no tracking issues at all. With the base stations that I have set up on the corner of the room, the tracking is spot on. So if I want to play games like Beat Saber or things that require, really fast motion that I don't want to lose a game at, like 11 table tennis, that I play online as well, like that bowling game I was talking about. This is a great headset for me to do this in because I know the tracking is going to be spot on. I'm not going to have any issues playing with the tracking on here, and it obviously still has OLED panels. The resolution, while they're obviously not as high as the other headsets like the Play for Dream, it's still very respectable at 2500 by 2500 resolution. So you have a really good resolution for PCVR. It's wired, so you don't have to worry about wireless streaming with your router being right next to you, or making sure your internet is really good, because it's all wired to your PCVR, so you're not going to get any artifacting or anything like that. No virtual desktop needed. It's plugged in. You're using SteamVR natively, which means you get everything natively. You don't have to worry about anything with compression or anything. So games that are fast motion and stuff like that, I love playing on the Bigscreen Beyond. I have watched movies on Bigscreen Beyond, and it's much better than the first version because the glare is severely reduced. You get a nice FOV on here, and it's just a ton of fun. It's the best tracking that you can get, so obviously playing those games that require that better tracking is what I use this for, and because it's so small, I can use it for a very, very long time without having any issues. Having the audio strap on here produces pretty good audio as well, better audio than almost every other headset. Actually, no, every other headset except for one, I would say this has really good spatial audio, really good volume and stuff like that playing these, and it's super, super fun. So really, really comfortable headset, really good resolution for PCVR, where it's kind of like not the highest out there, but like a really good resolution for what the graphics card can handle out there natively. It just looks fantastic in my opinion. I don't have any issues with the headset at all. I know some people have complained about certain issues with it, but for me, edge-to-edge clarity is good, FOV is good, and the sweet spot, rather small, because of how small the headset and it conforms to your face, I never have an issue finding that sweet spot. The next headset that I want to talk about here on the channel is the Apple Vision Pro. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. A lot of you guys are like, oh, wow, he still has an Apple Vision Pro. Yes, I'm not like half the other YouTubers that bought one and returned it within 30 days just to make a video. But I actually use mine, and I use mine on a weekly basis, at least once or twice, sometimes more. Because what I use this headset for is mostly for media streaming. Of course, this also has 4K panels, 4K per eye, just like the Play for Dream, but the Play for Dream has slightly higher resolution, nothing insane, but slightly higher. But the Apple Vision Pro is the best media streaming device that you can have, bar none. There's no better headset that you can use for watching your Netflix shows, your Amazon shows, and all that stuff. The panels are amazing, and with the comfort mods, it wasn't that comfortable out of the box, but the way I use my headset, because I'm not playing games on here, and I don't need to be fully immersed, and I don't really care about that. You can see I'm not even using the face guard for this. I have nothing on here, and I just have this cushion on here and this cushion in the back here from Global Cluster, and it allows me to get really nice FOV, because the FOV with the standard stock was not great. But with this, I have a big FOV that I put on my face, and then I'm using it in mixed reality a lot of times when I'm watching content in my living room overlaid on my giant screen, and it just gives me a really good movie watching experience. So when it comes to watching anything streaming related, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon, all of those shows, I always choose the Apple Vision Pro to do that in. It's what I use almost on a nightly basis to watch at least one show. It's a really good headset for that, and it's really, really nice to be able to just use your fingers and stuff like that. No controllers needed to control the OS, and it works fluidly and works really well. The eye tracking works extremely well as well. The OS is really, really polished, which is not surprising when it comes from Apple, but it's also the most expensive headset at this table, so you're going to really need to decide, like, do I want to spend that much money just for a movie watching experience or a streaming experience? And that's going to be up to you on if that's something that, you know, you're going to want to do. But it is the best version, the best headset that I've ever tried when it comes to media streaming. And we haven't even gotten to the best part of it, which is the 3D nature of it. The main number one reason that I even bought this headset is because you guys know on this channel, I am a huge 3D fan. And because I'm a huge 3D fan, Apple is the only one that you can get all the Disney Plus shows, or the Disney Plus movies that are on there. So you can't get the Disney Plus streaming 3D movies anywhere else but the Apple Vision Pro. But not only that, they're in 4K HDR for the very first time, and you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get 3D HDR movies anywhere. Blu-rays are obviously not going to offer you that. So when it comes to the best HDR 3D experience that you can have, it's going to come from here. And not only can I stream it from the Apple Vision Pro, but then you also have, or sorry, from Disney Plus, but you also have the Apple store that you can also download some exclusive 3D movies that they sometimes get on there, and they have a vast library of 3D movies. Over, I think they're almost at 200 or over 200 movies at this point on their store. So there's a lot of content on there, and that doesn't even begin to talk about their 3D, their spatial videos that they do with the content that they have on here that they've done. There's 8K cameras that they're using to record those 3D 180 videos are amazing. And again, nothing that I've ever seen on any other headset, even though they're not the first ones to do 3D 180 videos. They're the best quality that I've seen on any headset so far because of the cameras that they're using to record it and because of the lens clarity on here. So when it comes to anything media watching, the Apple Vision Pro is what I will pick up every single time. But when it comes to gaming or social VR and stuff like that, it's not a headset I use. I know that they're getting a PSVR2 controller support, so we'll see how that goes and how it manipulates my ideas. But for right now, I have way better headsets that do, you know, PC VR and, you know, other gaming and stuff like that, where this isn't really something I'm using, and Apple's not really pushing it that much. So there's only a select handful of games that I have on here that I really like the one from Resolution Games that lets you play some board games and stuff. But other than that, I mean, this is really just a media device that I use, and sometimes, like, you know, using other apps like using Twitter and stuff like that, and putting objects around my room, which is really cool with the new latest OS 26 update that's coming, where you can kind of pin things everywhere. So there's some other small use cases that I use. For my main use case is definitely media streaming. The next one I want to talk about here is the Pimax Crystal Light. This is another video that I just did here recently, and the Pimax Crystal Light I was really excited to try out because, one, it has it's directly tied to PCVR. It's actually plugged into my PC right now from when I was last playing, so it's directly connected, not wireless or anything. But what makes this one unique over like the Bigscreen Beyond, for example, is it does use inside-out tracking. So you're going to use controllers with the cameras that are in front of this headset to be able to, you know, play your games and stuff like that. So it's not using Steam VR or anything like that with the base stations, even though they do sell a different faceplate if you want to do that. So you can use your index controllers if you want to, but out of the box, it comes with these, and this is all I've tried. And I was really surprised, first of all, how good those controllers track. I actually did play Beat Saber with inside-out tracking on here, and I had no issues at all. I finished expert songs without, you know, my controllers even being on the side. They don't lose tracking. They come back into focus really easily. I played the bowling game on here. I had no issues with that. So for me, the tracking on this has been really good, where I have no reason to even care about using the index controllers. I mean, they work really well. I'm sure they're not perfect, and I'm sure they're probably side by side not as good as the Quest 3 algorithm has been. But for me, they have been rock solid for PCVR, and it's how I use it, and I have no issues or complaints with using it that way with those games. It also has higher resolution than the Bigscreen Beyond 2, 2880 by 2880 resolution. So you're getting even higher resolution, a pretty good margin than the Bigscreen Beyond 2. So you're getting that extra clarity on the PCVR side, and it's still manageable for most people if they have like the 40 series cards or the 50 series cards. And the biggest thing about this headset that really got me excited to try it is the biggest FOV I've ever had in a headset, and it's the biggest FOV out of any headset on here. So the immersion is just insane. And what I really didn't realize that it was going to catch me off guard is that it's not just about the fact that the FOV is bigger, but it's the way that the lenses are. Because this is using aspheric lenses, and this is the first time I tried it. First of all, the sweet spot is huge, so you have no issues finding the sweet spot. The edge-to-edge clarity is really good. It does not use OLED panels though, but it does use QLED with local dimming, so you'd still get really good blacks and really good colors, better than any other headset that doesn't use OLED panels. So the OLED panels will still obviously have deeper blacks and slightly better colors and popping, but this one, I have no issues or complaints about with these aspheric lenses. The local dimming still gives you really good blacks, gives you really good colors, way better than the Quest 3 does, that's for sure, because it uses LCD panels. And even though it's not as good as OLED, it's close enough where if I have a better resolution like I do on here, the 2880, if I have really good sweet spot and have that larger FOV because they're using these lenses, I will take the larger FOV with local dimming and the QLED than I would smaller lenses like the pancake lenses that, you know, the Bigscreen Beyond uses, for example. The FOV is a lot smaller. I will take the bigger FOV because when I got into a game, what I didn't realize that the FOV was going to do to me is the Quest 3 also has a pretty decent FOV. This one is still bigger, but what I didn't realize was going to happen is that the Quest 3 kind of feels like a ski mask, or kind of like a mask, maybe not a ski mask, but like just like a mask that you're putting on, because it kind of feels like you're being taken like this, like when you put it on. So the eyes are right here, but you can see that it feels like a circle around you. So it kind of feels like you're wearing a mask. Where the Pimax Crystal Light, what I didn't realize that I was going to experience for the first time is that because of these aspheric lenses, it kind of feels like you're in a box instead. So instead of it being like this, like the Quest, it kind of feels like this, where you're kind of in a square around your head. So what that makes you feel like is that when you're in VR, because of not only the bigger FOV, it kind of feels like you're looking out to a window. So instead of me feeling like I'm looking out to a mask and I'm kind of like masked in, this feels like I'm just looking out to a window of VR. And it really adds to the immersion, something I didn't expect. And the FOV, like I said, is bigger than any other headset that I own. It really does add to the experience, and it really is a ton of fun. Now, the only negative with this headset is, obviously, it's much bigger because of that FOV. You can see how much bigger this headset is. It's the biggest headset that I own. So balancing on your head is obviously, you know, it does move around a lot more than my other headsets. When I go like this and shake around, the headset does move a little bit. I'm getting some more comfort mods for this thing really soon. I'm really excited. Tomorrow I'm getting my lenses that I'll do a video on. So I don't have to use my glasses or contacts in here again, which is really going to elevate this headset like I've talked about before. So I'm excited for that. But because of the fact that it's such a big headset, it definitely is obviously not as comfortable as the Bigscreen Beyond 2. It's not going to be as comfortable as the, you know, Quest 3 with the mods and stuff, but it's still comfortable enough that I'm not like, oh, 30 minutes in, I need to rip it off. The Play for Dream, after 30 minutes without getting the comfort mods that I'm waiting to get and, you know, hopefully get a video out to you guys and see how much that improved the comfort. And Play for Dream, after 40 minutes, I'm done. I can't do it anymore because it's just not comfortable and it starts hurting. This is not that. I can wear this as long as I need to, but it's not going to be as comfortable and it doesn't feel like nothing's on your head like the Bigscreen Beyond 2 or the Quest 3, where I feel like it kind of evaporates because of how comfortable the Bobo VR head strap is. But I will take it. I will take that bigger FOV. I will take the higher resolution with these lenses and get a bigger headset on my head. I will deal with it and figure out how to get it to work on my head because it is that much more immersive. It is the most immersive headset that I have. So for me, what do I use this headset for? Well, first of all, not only does it have really good edge-to-edge clarity, but there's no glare either. It's the least amount of glare I've seen on any headset that I own. So when I'm in there, in what I didn't expect to do on this that I've done a lot in is when I use EMU VR, for example, which is a really good app that you can like feel like you're in the 90s and 2000s to create your room. That's really fun to do on this headset and watch movies in and play games in. Obviously, the Bigscreen app where you can watch movies socially with other people was really, really good on here because obviously you got a big FOV for the movies, but also you get that nice edge-to-edge clarity. You get the nice FOV and the aspheric lenses and the benefits that that has with the higher resolution. And it just looks really, really good. And there's no glare. So watching the Bigscreen app is awesome because there's no glare anywhere, whether it's on the edge or in the middle. So it's really fun to do that in. And because the tracking is actually pretty good on PCVR, I will use it for Beat Saber and other games. The only things that I don't really use it that much for is if I need to move my head a lot like this, like left to right. Big screen, Beat Saber, you're kind of just standing still, so I don't really need to move around a lot. So, you know, for that, I'll pick the Beyond 2 because the Beyond 2 sits on my face and it's not going to move when I do left and right. Well, this one will. But man, that FOV is so much fun to use. And the best use case that I have for this, that I use the most for, is the headset for this is sim racing. Sim racing, flight racing, and stuff like that with that big FOV is just amazing. It's nothing like you've seen. Playing Flight Simulator on this, playing, you know, racing games on this, it really does add to the immersion, not only because of the higher resolution that this thing has, but it's just awesome. It really works really well, and that FOV really sells it. So for me, the main use case for this headset is definitely for, you know, sim racing and stuff like that, because of the fact that the resolution is really good, because of the you know, really big sweet FOV. I mean, there's no headset I have that has this big of an FOV, and once you play with a big FOV like this in sim racing, especially, and in flight sim, you're not going to want to go back to anything else. So this is definitely my sim racing and dedicated flight sim one. This is the one I will pick up every single time for that stuff, because the resolution is still really good at 2880 by 2880, but that FOV really sells, and the aspheric lenses are really, really good in my opinion. When it comes to playing other PCVR titles, I will use this one as well. A lot of the times I will pick the Bigscreen Beyond 2 if I know I'm going to be playing like fast-paced motion games and stuff like that. I'll probably pick that one over this one, just because it will have slightly better tracking, obviously, and have the OLED panels in color. So it really just depends on my mood. But yeah, for flight sim and racing, it's just insane. And the last headset we're going to talk about here today is my PlayStation VR2. So the PlayStation VR2 really does have a special place in my heart, because I think the PlayStation VR2 is a great headset. If you have a PlayStation 5 and you don't have a PC, for example, and then a lot of these headsets that I just talked about are not going to be for you. The only one that would be the Quest 3. But if you already have a PlayStation 5, you're going to get the more better looking games than you would on the Quest, because it's running on the power of the PlayStation 5, or even better, the PlayStation 5 Pro. The new No Man's Sky update that takes advantage of PSSR is insane on the PlayStation VR2, and how good that game looks, and it rivals the PC version anytime, any day. So it's really, really good. The only problem with the PlayStation VR2 is it's the lowest resolution headset that I have at this table that I talked about today. 2000 by 2000 resolution, even though it uses OLED panels, the resolution is obviously low, and you can tell as soon as you put this headset on that the resolution is definitely lower than any other headsets that I have on here. And on top of that, even though it's OLED, so it has those great colors and blacks, unfortunately, it does suffer from something called mirror, which is very noticeable to me when you have something really bright or something really dark. It's very easy for me to notice. And sure, when you start playing a game, you kind of like disappear from your mind and you can ignore it. But it's still something that I know exists on here. And I know, like playing Kayak VR Mirage, one of my favorite games to showcase to people, I'm not going to showcase it on the PlayStation VR because on the dark scenes, because on the dark scenes, you can easily see the mirror on those dark scenes, and it's impossible to tell me that you can't see it. And the image is so much clearer on almost every other headset on here. So that's the only thing that deters me, but they do have some really good exclusives on here. So for me, the PlayStation VR2 is what I use for. It's very easy. Anything that's exclusive. There's so many great exclusives on the PlayStation VR2 that you guys are looking at here, and I'm hoping that we continue to get more. And sometimes, even if they're not exclusives and they come out on the Quest, they will be better on the PlayStation VR2 because of the graphics and stuff, and I'll choose it on here if it's not on PC. So there's some really great games on here. The graphics are fantastic, and that's not even to talk about my favorite controllers in VR, even over the index controllers, is the PlayStation VR2, because of the fact that you can use these controllers and you have the great haptic feedback that you get on here, the adaptive triggers, and the feedback that you get. I love the way that the rings fit around your hands. They're just amazing. I love these controllers, and I wish I could use them for everything. And they're really, really good in my opinion. Then you have the haptics on the headset, where the headset rumbles sometimes as well when you're using controllers and you get hit. So really, really good stuff on there. And yeah, I mean, I love this headset. I have no issues with this headset. I just only play exclusives on there because if a game exists on the PlayStation VR2, but it's on PC, I'd rather play it on PC with the better headset to have way better resolution. And if it's a Quest game that's going to be multiplayer and stuff like that, and it's not like cross-compatible, then I'll probably choose it on the Quest for the larger ecosystem. But regardless, my point is that the PlayStation VR2 headset is something I still highly recommend. It's very affordable nowadays, and you're going to have a blast playing so many different games on there. And just because I only use it for exclusives doesn't mean that you need to, depending on if it's your only headset. But yeah, for me, it's the only thing that I use this headset for is exclusives or things that just run better on it. But every time I get in this headset, I'm still always happy, and most of that is because of the fact that these controllers are so much fun and the headset rumble is so much fun. And I love playing the PlayStation VR 2 because of that. So it will always stay in my collection because there's so many great games on here to play that you can't play elsewhere. And yes, they do have adapters now officially that you can use these controllers and the headset with PC VR. But again, with that low resolution, I'm not going to choose it anytime for PCVR. But for you, if it's your combination headset, it's a great value because if you have a PlayStation 5, you can play all those great exclusives on there. And then you have a vast library of Steam VR games, some free and some not, that you can dabble into, and all you need is the adapter. So it's still a really good option. It's just not a great option for me because I have so many other headsets that will do a much better job at it. even though I wish I can use these controllers with my other headsets. So yeah, guys, that is everything I wanted to talk to you guys about in this video. If you guys want to support me in the channel, links will be down below for anything that I talked about in this video. If I can, for all of these headsets and anything that I talked about. This was a fantastic video that hopefully you guys learned a lot in and got some ideas on how you guys would use these headsets. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have a lot of headsets like me, what you use your headsets for, and what use cases you guys use your headsets for, and whether you agree with how I use mine, or whether you don't agree. There's so much variety in these headsets, and there's always a use case that I try to come up with for these headsets. That's why I have these headsets in my collection, and they stay in here because I have a use case for each one. I'm privileged to be in the position where I can have these headsets and try them out. I might even get another headset in the near future here in the next like couple of weeks that throws a wrench in some of this, that maybe eliminates one of these headsets from my collection. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I love trying VR headsets and trying different ones and reviewing them for you guys. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of this video. And like I said, guys, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.